My name is Ọlátúbọ. I go by Ọlátúbọ these days. I am a teacher, I'm a linguist, I'm a writer. I have taught at different levels of education. I've also taught Yoruba as well as English. I have a chapbook of poetry currently on Saraba magazine, and I edit this year's Ake Review magazine as well. Yeah, there were a number of things. One of them is that statistic you quoted, which many people don't take seriously because they look at Nollywood movies and all of the other things we have and say, well, it's not possible that people stop speaking the language. But what linguists pointed to is not just what we have right now, but the future trends. So we have people who growing up without teaching their children the language, which is the number one indices of how viable a language is. If you don't teach your children the language, it means that you're going to have a generation of people who don't speak it. So that's one. The other is I had a conversation at some point with a couple of friends of mine online at the time, and I got depressed afterwards that it seems that young people of today don't think that speaking the language or even using it anywhere amounts to anything or is important, and I was very discouraged and I thought I need to do something about it. I also realized that I was in a position to do so because I am a linguist and I am competent in speaking and using the language, and I could galvanize a couple of people to work on projects that might bring Yoruba back to the forefront. Then at the time, Twitter had announced that they were translating the platform into different languages, and I said, why not Yoruba? So I said, okay, well, if we can do Yoruba, why not? So I said that we're going to harass them to include Yoruba, and we did. So we set a date, March 1, that was 2002, and we said everybody should tweet in Yoruba on that day and copy their tweets to @Twitter and @Translator, which was the platform they had at the time. So everybody did all day, and Twitter probably realized that some people were just tweeting languages they didn't understand, and they wanted to know why. I'd written a blog post about it, about why we were doing what we were doing. So eventually, I guess they figured it out, and they said, okay, we'll include Yoruba as well. Give us some time. So it took a while. 2004, I got the tweet that they had included Yoruba in the translation platform, and they needed people to go there and just translate all the terms that they had in Twitter, that they wanted to translate. So we've been working on that for a while. So I'm really interested I've realized that languages survive not because, it just happens, but because people work towards making them survive. And that's why I'm motivated to do what I wanted to do. The Yoruba Name Dictionary project came as a result of a video I saw. It was David Oyelowo, I think, the actor, who was on a TV show in the US. And they were making fun of the fact that white people in the US couldn't pronounce his last name, Oyelowo, which was simple enough. And we spend all time pronouncing Schwarzenegger or Eisenhower, names that are difficult to pronounce, and we try and we learn how to pronounce them. So I realized, and I've known this for a while, that it's not impossible for anybody else to pronounce a Yoruba name if they try. But the people will always tell you, well, we don't have access to, how do we know how to pronounce it? You have to ask somebody, etc. So I said, okay, if we have a dictionary of Yoruba names online, then you have no more excuse. That's one way. The other is that even for Africans, many of us are losing our language, are losing knowledge of what belongs to us. And this will be a way to make sure it survives. It's going to be like a Wikipedia, so people can add new things to it. If there's knowledge you have and you don't know anybody else you can pass it on to, just go there and upload it to the name, add more information to it. So in short, it's just a way of my own contribution to the idea of preserving African languages. In short, Yoruba is the beginning. Of course, when I talk about it, people say, what about Igbo, what about Hausa? And I say, well, it's not mine to decide what languages come. It's my goal is to show you that it can be done, and it's for you to show more effort and do what else you can do to add your own language to the repertoire. So yes, I do have a problem. You're asking me about how, what I think about the use of language in African literature and the predominance of English. It's something I'm very interested in. Okay, so the way I look at it is this. I don't have a problem with the use of English because we can't do anything about that. That will always be there. I do have a problem, however, with a number of things, which is the absence of huge publishing enterprises for African languages, and I've taken publishers to task on this for a long time. I also have a problem with people publishing in English, writing Yoruba names, for instance, without the tone marks, and without all the dots that you have to put there to make them have meaning. Even though you're writing in English, if you write Yetunde without any tone marks on it, you might, you're not saying Yetunde, you're saying Yetunde and or something other sound, If you write cola and you don't put the tone marks there, it could be cola that you're writing, and cola is not what you're trying to say. So I think that's inexcusable. When the publishing industry used to be in the hands of colonialists, for instance, we understand that they don't want to make any effort, so they put all your names without tone marks, just plainly like they write an English word. But now that we have more publishers from Nigeria, from African countries, they have no more excuse. And it's not just for Yoruba. There are many other languages that use special characters to write. And the fact that we're not making that relevant, even when you're writing in English, I think is inexcusable. So writing in African languages is also something very important. Since the 80s or so, we haven't had any major publication in African languages, fiction or poetry. I mean, some people do independent publishing, but it's not very big or prominent. So I have challenged many publishers publishing today about putting more effort or money into publishing people writing in local languages. Hopefully things will change. The excuse you get is that the market determines, and if you don't have people buying, then why would you spend time producing? The True Yoruba Name Project released the tone marking software a couple of months ago. So now you can write online, you can put your tone marks, and you can write Adebayo and you put the or under the dot under the or, and you put the tone marks on the things. Before it was hard to do because nobody cared about it. But now we have a tone marking system on yorubaname.com where you can download and use to tone mark your words. So hopefully people who are interested in that will be able to find tools to use, and more people who might not know that they need it will find that it makes it more helpful, and hopefully it helps our language live a little longer than they probably would have without it. This is my third time of coming, and I've enjoyed every one of them. The first time was when I met Teji Cole, I assume. That was 3 years ago. And last year, I met Binyavanga for the first time. Wainaina is not here this time. This time, I've met a couple of new people I've not met before. Kolade Arugundade, who is a co-editor of the review. Isi Osondu, whom I've met for the first time. Chris Abani, who is also a great writer that I was pleased to meet for the first time. It's a nice, interesting festival. It's always fun to be here. It's a nice interaction of people whom you have heard about, whom you have read, whom you have interacted with online before. Seeing them in the flesh is always very nice. I really enjoyed the panel I moderated yesterday, which is one on satire, Deadly Laughter it was called. You had Victor Hikameno on board. They had Adeola Fayewu of Sahara Reporters, and they also had Ayo Shogunro, who is also a blogger. It was quite fun. And before then, I had attended another one with Pius Adesomi and Mona, I can't remember her last name, which was also very fun and feisty in the afternoon. So it's always a nice experience, always very nice to be here. Hair Ward was shown last night, which is a play I'd also seen before, and it was very, very nice experience. So it's always fun to be here.